What's up, Mortgage Coach community? Dave Savage live. I think this is the first interview I've done this year. What's up, Gina?
All right. Happy 2022. Thanks for
Right?
having me, Dave. I love the mortgage coach community. You've been so welcoming, and I'm thrilled to chat with you always.
Well, I'm really thrilled about this because the first interview we did, I was just getting to know you. And then we had a full top producer interview.
Mhm.
Anyone who's listening to this, Gina is awesome. The first one, I think it was called Winning with Rate Shoppers. It was, right in that fall period when rate shopping was peaking out. This one, guys, is going to be becoming a mortgage coach grandmaster in 1 year. And if my memory serves me correct, you started using Mortgage Coach last year in 21.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So, and I switched companies, and then I just got, got under my feet a little bit. My coach at the time was Jeremy Forcier, who you know very well.
I
And I
do.
said, "Hey, should I really do this mortgage coach thing?" And he said, "Without a doubt, do it." And he gave me a very quick tutorial, and we were off to the races. So yeah, so it's been a year of using Mortgage Coach, and I couldn't be happier.
What month do you think you started using Mortgage Coach last year?
It probably was right around this time. Like I would say probably February. We switched companies in like September. So then it was just a few months of like still doing the same old PDFs, right? And my company, Cross Country, is much more into technology and very innovative. And I felt like I was behind with the loan estimates. So Jeremy also works for the same company. So I asked him, and he said, "Gina, you got to do this." So it was probably February, March timeframe when spring market was just exploding around here, because we were doing a lot of those comparison options, and that's what I love most about Mortgage Coach, and that's my biggest pitch to clients. And I can just see their eyes light up when I say the next step is for me and my team to get back with you with side-by-side analysis, so you can see the cash to close and monthly payment for all these options. And they just love that. So that's when I really knew I needed it. So I would say probably just about 10 or 11 months.
Okay, so 10 or 11 months. So guys, I've had a lot of people ask me, how fast can I be a black belt, or how fast can I be a grandmaster? And I don't think I've done an interview with someone who became a grandmaster. That's 1,000 total cost analysis in a single year. I talked to a lot of folks that achieved black belt status in a single year. I've even had brand new loan officers in their first year in their business achieve black belt status in a single year. So anyone listening to this, you can do it, and you can become a grandmaster in a single year. Now you're not a new loan officer, and you are doing a lot of volume. How did you end up the year?
We ended up the year just shy of 190 million. And then that was 340 units.
So you're a mega producer, like that's beyond top producer status, franchise player. Congratulations on the success and the volume.
Thank you.
Now the way I found you is you didn't beat Jeremy last month, but I always look at like big lenders and I'm like, who's doing the most TCAs? And there were a few months where you were the #1 loan officer using Mortgage Coach at Cross Country. So you're doing a lot of TCAs. Why don't you walk me through your startup period? Because I want this to be valuable to someone, whether they're a mega producer like you or they're new in the business. Like, what'd you do your first month to start using Mortgage Coach? And what was your why? Like when you started doing it, think back to when you were that white belt fee worksheet loan officer. Why did you start doing it? And what did you do for the first 30 days?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I mentioned a few minutes ago that I felt that my product that I was showing to clients as my presentation was a bit antiquated, because I was sending PDF documents through email, which oftentimes everyone's looking on their phone, right? And so sometimes the PDFs go to the bottom. So I was getting a lot of pushback. I can't find it. I don't see it. What are you talking about? And then I found myself typing up in the body of the email the exact same loan estimate, summary that was attached. And then, of course, there is, I can't reiterate enough that people want options. And Jeremy taught me this too, whether it's rate options, whether it's mortgage insurance options, whether it's price options, down payment options. That is the name of our game. How often do clients ask us, what are my options? And it's not just conventional versus FHA versus VA. It's a lot of different options within that, within their parameters. So that's what drove me most to Mortgage Coach. That, and I would say more so, is video. So not really even COVID, but I was finding that with anytime I can get in front of a client, have an in-person meeting or a Zoom call, I was much more successful. It wasn't something I tracked, but I just knew it. And so I felt that if I could get in front of them with a video explanation explaining it, that was going to be a big deal for me. So, once I decided Mortgage Coach was it, I signed
Wait,
on.
time
Oh,
up, time out real quick. I want to, so really it was time savings and leveraging video within the rate quoting process were the two whys. Is that
yes,
fair
and
enough?
education, right? Because I'm really big in giving people options, and I always get that aha of, oh, I thought I needed, 20% down. What if I show you 15 and 10? And they're like, oh my gosh, I get to keep $50,000 in my pocket and my monthly payment only changes $200. Let's go, So I that was so important to me. So giving them the options side by side really allowed them to make decisions quicker, which helped me be more efficient.
Got it. All right. So you were going to say, and then you started doing what?
So I signed up, and like many people, I did drag my feet for a minute because it was change, right? And a lot of the loan estimates that we put together are put together by my team. So I had to learn it myself. And once I put together a few and Jeremy walked me through it, I was like, oh my gosh, what was I so afraid of? That was pretty easy. And then I showed my team. And then where it truly made the difference was I said, no more PDFs, not a single PDF this week. We are doing all Mortgage Coach. And what was so amazing was almost like the clients knew it, because the feedback we got from them was so incredible. I love the video. This technology is amazing. You've really come a long way, Gina. It is really funny to see clients react to the Mortgage Coach platform. And that's what really solidified it for me and my team members, right? Because they're the ones that do most of the loan setup.
So time out on that. Because so you learned it. How many did you think you did yourself before you told your team it's your turn?
Oh, maybe like 5 or 10. Yeah,
Okay,
not many.
so
Not
less than
many.
10.
Hmm.
And then now would you recommend that? Because I do think different, like Jeremy still does all the
Yeah.
TCAs himself, which is inhuman. That's not the norm that $200 million producers create
Right.
their own TCAs. And I'm kind of 50-50. I think like if you're a team leader and you're pretty good with tech and you can learn it within 5 to 10, learn it yourself and then delegate it. But I also think there's a lot of team leaders that aren't good with tech and they'll
Hmm.
never do those 5 to 10. And they should really just pick a team lead and say, hey, you know what, this is a new standard. And, get a demo, maybe go through one of our trainings together, but
Yes.
but start with their team. And I'm in, by the way, I don't think there's a right answer. I think it depends on who you are as a team leader and who is going to be your lead on your team. But do you have an opinion on that as a leader?
Well, I certainly audit it, right? Because there is some extent that I am a control freak. So I certainly audited them and I gave feedback time, like in real time. And that was appreciated. And we spent time discussing what will our headers look like? How will we create consistency? Because what I also love about Mortgage Coach is that we can pick up and revise estimates. Even though maybe one loan partner is running with a client and it's a weekend, I can hop in there and I can see exactly what's going on and I can make the edits and then copy the analysis and do an updated Mortgage Coach in, gosh, less than 5 minutes sometimes. So it's really nice to be able to make the changes, but we did have some consistency with like what we wanted our headers to be, how we were going
Did you set up
to structure.
templates? Did
Yes,
you
we set up templates.
right
Hmm.
away? Like that was one of the first things you did.
Right away. Yeah, actually, another friend of mine helped me with those templates too, because in our area, I work in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and so mainly, and so they're all different. It's not like, because Jeremy was like, Gina, it's just the same. I was like, well, I don't just deal with one state. I deal with three.
Yeah,
So
right.
we had to make some adjustments. But once we get those templates down, it was pretty easy. Mhm.
Well, note to anyone listening to this, if even if you're an individual user and you're not with a corporate client of ours, we have online training, we have online support, we've got videos. Like if you go to our YouTube channel, you go to our support and type in how to create strategy templates or templates, there's there. And if you work for a company that has an enterprise relationship with you, you have a success coach that will train you and help you do this. But do recommend that. I'm also going to put a link down below to we have an on-demand training center that will help you go from white belt to orange belt. And I'm going to put the link to our online training center and help you with that. So it sounds like within a week, you got your team on it. And then it sounds like the feedback that you had within that week, everybody was on it, or did you have any resistance from your team?
There was a little bit of resistance, but it was with the video. So, I personally went back and forth because I was like, okay, I'm the face. So is it okay if I ask them to do it? And then thinking more about it, I was like, it is a relationship with me, but then it's also a relationship with them. So it's a great way to bridge the relationship, right? Because in order to do a fair amount of volume, right? And there is no limit in our industry, which is unbelievable. But in order to do more volume, you need more support. And those people also need to have a relationship. So if you don't think that's accurate, then you're wrong. The relationship is with you and with your team members. And I felt that this was a great way for me to have the initial video call with the client, understand their needs, take the notes, and then say, hey, my loan partner is going to be reaching out to you with those options that you and I just discussed. So obviously I have on my notes when the loan partner gets in there and then they do the video, now they feel like, okay, great, I have Gina and I have her loan partner. And that's what's really great because then it allows me to leverage and talk to more people because now I have another loan partner that can field some of those calls, lender letters, updated loan options, and then they have a relationship with that person because I do think that video helps a lot.
So guys, I have a whole playlist called how X person uses Mortgage Coach. And I'm going to put this in that playlist, but there's how Jeremy Forcier uses Mortgage Coach, how Keith Collins uses Mortgage Coach, how Deborah or Denise Donahue uses Mortgage Coach. So, and I'll tell you, there's nuances to every team and how they do it. And now I'd say the team lead is doing the video, but there's no rule. And you heard Gina, like what percentage of the time do you think you're doing the video versus your team doing the video?
Probably 20% that I'm doing the video.
First of all, I think that's super impressive. I think that's very smart. I recommend I'm not going to recommend anything because every loan officer in America, you have your unique style, you have what you're comfortable doing and you love doing, and you've got your team. So you do you, but I would listen to some other loan officers and see what they do, and then do you and do your team. So it sounds like you didn't. I remember when I interviewed Michelle Castle, like she had 3 months where it really took like kind of slow start for her, but she knew she had to do it. Her team kind of liked it, kind of didn't. And it took like a couple starts and stops. But it sounds like, once you built your why, you were using Mortgage Coach full time within a month. Is that fair?
Yes. And maybe it's because of how I set it up with clients. I tell them we're going to give you the options that you need. Now, nobody wants to be overwhelmed. So, 3 to 4 options max, but it is definitely a selling point I use. And so think about it. If you're creating 3 PDFs, save, and then they want to see different ones, and you have to get back in and change the Excel. I mean, it was just way too cumbersome. So the team certainly appreciated the changes in the calculation that automatically occur. Now, I will say, I went back and audited some of them, and I said, hey, looks like you hard coded the mortgage insurance on this one. Like next time, just do the percentage, And then it was a learning curve just to be more efficient with the program. But again, I think that the video was a huge selling point, and the client feedback on that was critical, and just the team just completely switched over.
So my last piece of advice, we're going to wrap this up in about 5 minutes, but I would recommend anyone who's like, I have the mortgage coach why, I get it, I'm going to do it. At least one TCA a day,
Mhm.
burn the bridge and commit to it. If you have a team, tell your team that we're going to do it this week, this month,
Yes.
and absolutely fully commit,
Yes.
because
Mhm.
you'll learn it quick and you'll adopt it quick if you just get after it. If you like create a TCA every week, it's going to be a 3 month. It's going to be more painful. The faster you just pull off the Band-Aid and you start doing it, the better. So Gina, let's share your screen real quick. First of all, I want to see your red belt.
Sure.
So
Yeah, and Dave, that's exactly what I said to the team. I was like, no more PDFs. This week is all mortgage coach, and then we never went back. So that was
it does
amazing.
save time, because that's the thing. Like people are, oh, I don't have time to do it, and I'm like, you don't have time not to do it. So
all right, so there's the settings.
So couple things to pull out. Notice that, click not on your red belt, but you see that little box to the right. No, put your mouse over the red belt, but don't click on it. And then about 2 inches to the right, where it says TCA is created, there's a little box with an arrow pointing out of it. A few more inches to the right. Now go up 1 inch.
Whoa. Oh, that box.
Boom.
Click on that.
Click on that. I want everyone to see, that there's this progression. The first 20 are the hardest. Would you agree with that, Gina? The first 20 were the hardest?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
And then it looks like literally within a month, no more than 2 months, you were at brown belt, 100 TCAs. And then seeing how much business you do, you were probably a black belt within 3 or 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, she just became a red belt. So congratulations.
Thanks.
Now close that. Now I want other people to notice, you'll notice that she's created 1,015 TCAs, 847 of them have a video on them.
Mm-hmm.
And notice that they've been viewed over 5,000 times. That means every time they're creating a TCA, on average, 5 people are viewing these. My guess is some of those clicks are realtors. And then it's, the same person, same family member looking at it twice.
Absolutely.
And maybe you talk to the husband, but the wife is looking at it. Are you finding that the clients just feel like they're better communicated with and it's more efficient?
Well, yeah, I set it up that way too. I'll say, hey, this was a wonderful call. Love meeting you. The next step is you're going to receive a video from me or my loan partner with these options that we just discussed. It's going to include a video message so that we're going to be explaining to you everything that you see on the screen. And then there's, click on the more info tab if you really want to get granular with the details. But this way, you can look at it. And then when your spouse gets home later, I know they work a night shift, they can look at it and you can look at it together. And then a lot of times I have gift funds coming from different family members. They can share it with the family member who's giving the gift, so that it just really lends itself to sharing. And then I also get that heads up when they're viewing it, which is, different times of the day. If I start seeing like multiple clicks, I usually reach out to them. We'll reach out to the agent, and it does usually time up with, hey, Gina, they found a house. Okay, that makes sense, because they've been clicking through, and I can get notified when they've reviewed the TCA.
So guys, you just got a script. Highly recommend. If you don't have your scripting on how you're positioning mortgage coach, Gina just told you how she did it.
Mm-hmm.
So Gina, rates have just gone up 1/4 to 3/8, literally in a week.
Yeah.
How are you using mortgage coach, where you either created a TCA and you're updating it, or you talk to someone and they're like, what? How is mortgage coach helping you, kind of navigate this new rate market we're in?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I have a purchase and a refinance here, especially with the refi folks who were like, oh my gosh, I thought I had all the time in the world. Well, not so much. This is a 15-year term, but as we talk about rates, and I always find that setting expectations and being confident with it, understanding why the market is moving is really important, and relaying that to your clients. Look, rates are still historically low, so it's not like it's really nothing to be frightened about. But as an advisor, we need to give feedback to our clients. And so this scenario, we were able to show them points versus no points option for their refinance. Another client, first time home buyer, 2 weeks ago, we're showing 3 1/8, 3 1/4, and now we're showing 3 1/2 and 3 5/8. That's scary stuff for a first time home buyer who doesn't really have anyone else to lean on. But obviously, we educated them on what happened, gave them some information so that they could look it up themselves, and then really focus on the monthly payment and the cash to close. Because in this case, sure, did the monthly payment go up a little bit, but it wasn't like it wasn't a make or break situation. So I certainly, well, actually, this one was helpful because we showed them a rate and then a rate with a lender credit, because in this particular person's goal was to keep their cash to close as close as to 20,000 as possible.
And
So
I like what you said. It was all about the client's goal. The client told me their goal was this.
yes,
And really, you can't do that with a PDF loan quote. In order to show a family how to achieve goals, you really have to show options. So two things, Gina, if you could stop. You were going to show something else.
so here's just one more. I mean, this is in great lighting because last week we were working virtual, but this is one of my loan partners, and the client really wanted to see 4 different properties, and I think it was telling because really, the cash to close and monthly payment isn't drastically different, but it gave them a good sense of different properties. And we copied the agent on this as well, so it really shows how on top of it we are and how connected we are with the client.
And so real quick, guys, one of it was showing different properties. So they're shopping different properties and different options. One of them was showing different closing cost options. And anyone who wants to hear how she's winning with rate shoppers, I mean, that's part of the magic. And Jeremy, I mean, all top producers do this. Like, hey, here's a loan with low rate, high cost. Here's a loan with a little higher rate, a little less cost. And then here's lowest cost, highest rate. So they're shopping on your platform. And then of course, you just showed one where you were just helping them achieve their goals. So stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
So let's close out with any loan officer. Even though it's not close to spring home buying season yet, we're preparing.
Oh, it is here in the DC market.
Well, I know, but we're still like spring home buying season is going to heat up. Typically March. But it's prep for spring home buying season. And my message to the industry is stop quoting rates like it's 2008. Like if you were quoting with a fee worksheet or an email or some old school, here's your rates, here's your payments, stop doing that and start quoting rates like it's 2022 with a link, with options, with a video. Again, you're a leader, you're a coach. There's loan officers that listen to you. What are some of your closing thoughts on that message?
I agree with you. And I want to go back to, you said, I asked them their goal, and that is a little nuance that I think is super important that clients have mentioned to me lately when they did shop, right? So do people shop me? Absolutely. But when it happens, their comments back are, but you've been so responsive and I love your video messages and every single time you give me these loan estimates. So what am I doing now to set myself up for success? When I have the initial calls with clients, I am asking them, like you just said a few minutes ago, what are your goals? And I listen to that and I take note of that. So when I'm doing my video, I'm talking, okay, myself or my team members are referring back to those notes. And that just is a little nuance that can set you apart because it shows that you're listening, and so it might say, hey, this monthly payment is a hair over what what you told me your goal was. I want you to know I'm aware of that, but give me feedback on what you think, how you feel about that. The cash to close might be a little higher or a little bit lower. Hey, I know you said you wanted to be as close to 20,000. So because of that, I want to show you this other option. And that I think will really set you apart because, gosh, I mean, no PDF can do that, even though these loan officers out there that must be amazing and have great listening skills and technical skills, and want the best for their client, if they're not referencing back to that and having a resource to do so, then they're missing the mark. So show that you're a star, show that you're listening, show that you care, right? Because again, we're in a relationship business. We care for our clients and we want them to know that we hear them, that we understand their goals. And so this is a great tool to do that.
Well, Gina, it's awesome having you as an active leader in the mortgage coach community and at Red Belt. Please play it forward. I'm sure you already are, but if you know any loan officers within, that you're friends with, that you want to help, like I always say, the best way to get better at something is to help others. Jeremy, I don't know how many loan officers he's helped become mortgage coaches, but it's a lot. So Jeremy, if you're listening, thank you, brother.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy. And remember, guys, we're here to help. So if you're watching this and you have questions, put them in comments. And Gina, I hope to get to meet you in person sometime this year.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. So anyways, thank you so much for your time and your leadership.
My pleasure. Thank you, Dave.
All right. Take it easy.